sorry. Not
Yes, Madam Chair.
not all these other IDs that you're referring to. You need a birth certificate.
Yes, Madam Chair. And one government-issued ID.
And in addition, one government issue.
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, so going back, that person doing this important process, particularly with the birth certificate, is what? What is the title of that person? Yun yung sabi mo na consular employee?
Yeah, well, we call that a processor. Madam
Processor.
Chair.
So,
Yes.
because what I'm driving at, so just help me out. Who is the last stop in your process in ensuring that the documents or the facts are as factual as can be? That processor or
So-
ano yung verification process na yan?
So we have the processor po.
Okay.
And then we have another group that verifies. And then the final one would be the group that would encode the details.
And they're constantly double checking everything,
Yes, Madam Chair.
overlapping.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Mm. So itong mga instances where you found doubtful certificates of birth, who caught it? Which line there? Iba-iba or normally sinong pasasalamatan natin?
The processors.
The processors.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Mhm.
But are there instances where the processors didn't catch it and then it went to that second level?
Yes, ma'am.
There also are.
Yes,
And are
ma'am.
there instances where it got to the third level?
Yes, ma'am.
So paano kaya yun? Pag lumagpas na sa third, ibig sabihin, it's already out. The error has been made.
Mhm. We have, since November, sorry, Madam Chair.
Next step is the biometrics.
Oh.
Sir.
Since November last year, Madam Chair, we have initiated and broadened our investigation. And we determined that there were several more passports issued to non-Filipinos. And we have taken several steps to ensure that it either does not happen again or it is minimized. Okay, so
Are they just to use the line of questioning of Senator Bato, did they fit a certain profile?
yes,
Like
Madam
a
Chair.
particular nationality?
Yes, Madam Chair.
So parang ang hirap naman, may I ensure that I have the intention of PSA and then kasi NBI also. If it fits a certain profile na paulit-ulit, we have to be very conscious that it's a syndicate then, di ba? We cannot just say na it's not, even though maybe not from the same locality. And I'll ask for I'm not an investigator. That's not my area of expertise. So we'll just ask maybe NBI later on to comment, but that is noteworthy. Okay, so you've broadened and ano ba, retraining or is there a need for what are you just, like you said, you broaden? So what did you do? But when you say you broaden, what did you do? You just train them further or is what do you do?
Well, one of the things we did was to review all those applications submitted and identify certain areas where there were a lot of first-timers with delayed registration of births.
Okay, so thank you for mentioning that. I will go back now to PSA. That's why I was asking the question, how many late registration of adults, how many application of late registration for adults do you receive? Do you have a number na?
Yes, Your Honor. For 2022, Your Honor, we have 904,920 late registered. Of these,
Yeah, you mentioned that, no? Tas
Yes,
yung adult,
the
yun
adults-
nasabi nyo na yan.
so adults we would assume from age 20 or 17, 18 ang
Well,
Naka-
officially it's 18.
naka-age group
It's up to you.
by 5
Just tell me what your age grouping is.
So we are Of the 900, okay. Of the 904,920, yung adult registration, 48,827. Okay. 200 plus 278,096, 096, plus 45,899, plus 39,000. 48,827, plus 278,096, plus 45,899, plus 39. 300. So these are for ages from 17 to 22 years old and over, Your Honor.
So,
So
hindi na
we have
17,
out of
22,
the-
22 and older.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Out of 904,920, 372,861 are adult registration, delayed registration.
Okay. Can you, I'm guessing you don't have it on you, but can you submit to us the number per year?
Yes, Your
Per
Honor.
year? Because I want to see if there's been an increase. And then, do you have that available by area, by region?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have it now?
We will submit, Your Honor.
But do you have it now? Can
Not
you
now, Your Honor.
do you have it now? The region?
Meron na po ba eh?
Meron? Ano yung top 3?
Sige, ma'am. Iano namin, ma'am. Top 3.
Siyempre, NCR.
Medyo challenge lang kami, ma'am, sa internet dito. Top 3. Pero we can supply that, ma'am.
O, di ganito na lang. I can move on, but if we can get the data within today's hearing, that would be good. Because
Yes, ma'am.
what I will ask you to do is to tell me also if the number of late registrants per region is proportional to the population per region, di ba? Kasi kung I can understand that sa NCR, proportionally, mataas siguro sa NCR. Then if you tell me in a very small region somewhere, ganun kataas, and then you have incidents now coming from those region, then I can investigate it myself because there seems to be a trend. Okay? Sige. So I'll go back to DFA. When you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would like to inform the honorable body that so far we have prevented over 100 attempts of
100?
foreigners. Yes, Madam Chair, in applying for Philippine passports. Right now, we have over 55 active cases.
Oh, and you filed cases against them.
We
Or
refer
when you say
them.
cases, you mean that you are investigating.
We refer them already, ma'am, to our law enforcement agencies.
Okay.
And we would just like to share that based on the documents presented, we can actually give the body the sources of where the spurious birth certificates originated
okay.
from.
Can you tell us now?
The highest number came from Pasig City,
Wow. Is Pasig here?
39
Sorry?
39 birth certificates, Madam Chair.
Wow.
The second,
So just for the record, no, we'll be sure that the civil register from Pasig is present next week. Next hearing. Yes, go ahead.
the second, Madam Chair, is Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, with 21
Double the Sur.
delayed registration of births.
Sandali lang ah. So, Mr. Libria, you're aware of that you have a high number in a civil what do you call it? LCR under, basically within your jurisdiction, you're aware?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, this is the first time to hear that number.
Really?
Madam Chair.
So, Mr. Manaog, these things were already brought to your attention during the budget hearing last November. So, paano ba yan na di kayo aware and you're not doing anything about it?
Ma'am,
You know, I'm
ganun-
very hesitant to call a Blue Ribbon Committee hearing because I assume that the government agencies involved are doing their jobs. I don't want to do your job for you, and I don't want to embarrass anyone. And if a resolution is filed, or if the Blue Ribbon alerts me, I don't even automatically assume that I will have a hearing, because if you're doing your job, I'll give you time to do it. But this was last November. So December, January, February, March, 4 months. And he doesn't even know that ang daming nangyayari sa kanya, unless iniimbestigahan mo siya na hindi niya rin alam.
Ano ma'am, on the, yung investigation was revolved on the what was referred to us by DFA. That's one case for that particular
So ibig sabihin,
LCR.
hindi rin kayo nag-uusap na it's one of the top numbers.
Yes, ma'am. This number came out today, but on what we are investigating, this was referred to us by DFA for verification. So we investigated on those documents.
But,
We
but
would,
it also tells me that on your own, you were incapable of finding out also. Diba? In other words, if you didn't hear of it today, if you did not call a Blue Ribbon hearing today, you do not know that this is happening. You do not know.
yeah, this is triggered by what was submitted to other offices and then referred to us. On our own,
On your own, you do not know. That's
Yes.
it. That's part of the problem. No, I mean, if you tell me our systems do not alert us, then we know we have a problem. And most likely, I will ask you to submit the possible solutions, because you know your office better than I do.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, on this case, ma'am, the DFA and the PSA has come into a memorandum of agreement through what we call e-certification. This is
Go ahead.
primarily to address the submission of illegal documents. So what we do in this e-certification is that DFA and PSA gets into data sharing agreement, wherein the applicant for a passport would apply for a document, and the applicant will no longer submit physically the document to DFA. DFA will now directly get the document from us, so that it will be direct government to government transaction. That's the memorandum of agreement has been signed, and we are crafting now at this time the
When was it
guidelines.
signed?
Last January 24, madam.
So ngayon
Madam
lang.
Chair. Yes, ma'am.
Like, okay. Well, okay. So that's a good solution. So include that in your written submissions on what your other solutions are. But may I just put on record that because when I ask you, like, why do you not know? Tas sabi mo, kasi yun lang naman yung info
Triggered,
na
yeah.
na-pass on sa inyo. So I'm aware that there is an interagency committee against passport irregularities, right? And the members of this interagency is DFA, DOJ, DILG, BSP, BI, NBI, PNP, POEA, and NSO, which is now PSA. So you're a member of that. This was established in 1993. And then I'm not aware of what transpired between 1993 and the present, but I know that as of October 18, 2023, the deliverables of the interagency is for DFA to share the active directory and circulate to the group, to institutionalize quarterly meetings, to circulate this is all on DFA side. DFA to circulate a concept paper and include what plans and actions are needed to be undertaken. DFA to include training on investigation and interviews, and DFA to ensure that they receive the interview questions from BI and NBI. So, well, at least what I see is all on the end of DFA, no? So, as of October. So, I'm just surprised that if I didn't call this meeting, and that's why I go through pains explaining that it's not my heart's desire to pull you all out of your offices. But apparently, if I didn't call this meeting, then you don't know. Or this hearing. Anyway, ASEC Cruz, please continue and respond to that. No, how come they don't know yet?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, right after the November 23 budget deliberation, ma'am, the DFA reconvened the Interagency Committee on Passport Irregularities. We actually had two meetings last December, Madam Chair, one on the 6th and the other on the 18th. And yes, we confirm that the members are indeed the ones you have identified.
Yes.
And we are actually in the process of signing an MOU with all the members in terms of strengthening the national security through interagency synergy to safeguard the Philippine passport's integrity.
Wait, what was the other thing that you just signed? You-
It's e-certification, Madam Chair.
no, you already mentioned an MOU kanina, no?
We
Ito yun. Ito yun.
drafted an MOU.
Yung sabi nyo
ma'am.
nung January lang. Itong January lang. What was that?
Oh, that's for e-apostille.
Ha? Sorry?
For the e-cert, sir.
Yeah, for the e-apostille, ma'am.
For the direct transmission
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
document. That's
Yes.
the
That I
that's the
described.
MOU, and then yours is now
An MOU.
with the other members for the entire membership of the
Yes, Madam Chair.
interagency to basically share all this information.
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
But I mean, I'm just saying, I will repeat that as of today, he did not know that meron kayong na-identify na high frequency of these
We mentioned it during the meeting in our ICPI,
oh,
the top three,
let the record show na nagtinginan ang PSA and ang DFA.
the top
Anyway.
three sources of
So now you know. So you mentioned the top two was Pasig City, and then Davao del Sur, and then what was that? Do you want the third? I just randomly asked for the top three.
the third is Manila, ma'am.
Sorry. So I know if I'll wait for them, I'll go ahead.
The third is Manila, Madam Chair. The fourth is Quezon City.
Ah. Okay. Anyway, you'll give us a complete list.
We will, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, because my two colleagues had questions with different agencies, I'm just checking if they'd like me to proceed and ask the questions, or they want to propound the questions themselves. So let me just go on to the other agencies while waiting for their reply. So sa Bureau of Immigration, it's you, Mr. Supano. Yeah, so can you tell us what do you have numbers similar to DFA in terms of how many incidents do you have, whether it's in a month or in a year, in terms of encountering suspected and then later on confirmed cases of the use of either fake documents or fake content?
Madam Chair, is it possible that my other
course.
colleagues, to
course.
present
Of
the
course.
figures?
Yes. Just make space, please. Can you just move a little bit? Or you can let your colleagues sit down.
Yeah.
Good afternoon po, Madam Chair.
Hello, just identify yourself, your name, so we can put it on the record.
I'm Attorney Anisha Haji Hassan po. So,
Yeah, you may sit down.
initially po, not including the case of the Filipino with two
Yes.
identities po, we submitted 17 names po for and endorsed to the NBI for investigation.
17 names from what period? Since when? For this year, last year?
These are ano po, consolidated na for different years.
So 17 lang naman ang na-intercept nyo.
Yes po.
over a span of a few years.
Yes, yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
So,
And do they involve Filipinos or foreigners or what?
foreigners, majority
Majority are foreigners
Yes,
who
Your Honor.
seem to have obtained
different
a Philippine passport,
not necessarily passports, but various Philippine issued
documents. So you counter check. Sorry. Say that again. Not necessarily passport, but
they were, for example, some were intercepted in a parang operation of one of our offices, and then they were
Okay.
found in possession of
of fake or
like birth certificates and or yun na po,
other government issued documents.
Yes,
Maybe okay.
Philippine passports and birth certificates.
Okay. Sige. Okay.
Ito po yung finish naman.
Sa BIR. Okay. Sige, while I'm waiting for our colleagues, I'll go ahead and ask call on BIR. Did this statement come from them? Or no? Saan galing yan? 202. BIR Commissioner. BIR Commissioner. Anyway, I'll proceed with the line of the concern of Senator Gatchalian. No? He mentioned that in his hearings related to POGOs, they actually had an ocular inspection and a number of Philippine issued government documents or Philippine government documents were seen. And the question he is raising is the lack of personal appearance in obtaining these documents. So my question to BIR, and this is Attorney Tibayan, what is your requirement for the issuance of a TIN? What is the process?
Ma'am, just a clarification kasi I was also the one who prepared the report for
Okay.
the I think it committee on women po.
Okay, sige.
Gender ba?
So feel free to
Yung findings po kasi ng
elaborate, yeah.
report namin, while the foreign nationals were duly registered, kasi po sa BAR naman, we try to capture as much taxpayers as possible.
Yes. And
So
to be clear to the public that may be listening, hindi bawal na magkaroon ng TIN ang isang
Yes,
foreigner.
yes.
Kasi kung nagtatrabaho siya dito, dapat nga may TIN siya, di ba? Dapat pa nga
Yes.
talaga may TIN.
At magbayad siya ng tax po.
At magbayad siya
Yes.
ng tax. So walang problema na meron. Ay,
Yes.
kaya nga ang binanggit ko na katanungan is ano yung what is the process to obtain a TIN? Because, and pause muna, whether it's with PSA or DFA, does this TIN, and TIN is a tax ID, right? That's what it is. It's a tax ID. Can they use that as suppletory IDs? Not with DFA. How about sa PSA? Nagagamit ba yan for dun sa ibang, dun sa late registration nyo, di ba? You accept other types of IDs. Yung TIN ba, tinatanggap nyo rin?
Ma'am, hindi gaano kasi wala siyang date on birth, date of birth, wala ring place
Okay.
of birth. So, more
Okay.
on the name lang yun, ma'am.
Okay.
Yung ni-require namin, ma'am, yung names ay government-issued ID that can supply the requirement for name,
Name, birth?
complete name, date of birth, place of birth, and preferably kung may parents. Kaya Number 1 dun sa list, parang baptismal certificate kasi kompleto yung
Okay.
data mo.
Okay. Anyway, so back to you.
Just to clarify po, yung TIN po, ang details po niya, yung ID mismo, is the TIN number, complete name, address, birth date, and the issuance date of the TIN.
Issuance date of
Apo.
tin. Okay.
So, yung mismong procurement po of the ID, doon po kami strict. We require personal appearance. No? Yung findings po ng investigation po, yung mga POGO employees na pina-check po sa amin, we discovered na yung mga TIN ID cards nila weren't legitimate. So, they were validly registered sa amin. Unfortunately, yung mismong card, kasi po may QR code po yan eh. So, that's a way to authenticate using our ORUS system.
Yeah.
Kung legitimate nga po yung ID, and it seems that pinaprint po nila sa, hindi ko po alam, sa labas yun or sa
So
recto.
in other words, they went through the process of applying because they are in your database. Pero yung parang physical proof nila of that ID is not is fake.
Kasi po, when you register with us, that's how we make it convenient. The employer can register for the employees as long as duly authorized and the proper documentation. Pero when they ask an ID card from us, that's where we become mas strict because we don't want them having fake IDs po. So
if no ID is requested, then the employer can process the TIN application.
Yes, opo.
Okay.
So I guess ang nangyari po nun is yung mga TIN ID po, siguro naisip na, ay, kailangan pa mag-appear personally. Baka naghanap na lang sila ng parang tinatawag ng iba, fixer, ganyan po. Minsan po, actually.
But what is the use of that ID for them? Maybe they use it as an ID.
Possibly po, to present sa government agencies. Pero kung chinek po namin yung QR code, skinan po, hindi po kami nag-issue ng mga
Okay,
yun.
I understand. Is there anything else you want to add?
That's all po, Madam Chair.
Well, sorry, one last question. No? When you say na yung TIN can be facilitated by the employer with the proper authorization, so ano yun? Parang letter authorization, tapos proof of employment, gano'n?
SPA po, yes po. And then proof of employment, yung contract po, or yung until what date, hiningi namin hanggang kailan po sila employed. And then valid government IDs po na employees. Yun po yung mga requirements.
Okay. Sige. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ay, wait lang.
Yeah.
Just before we proceed, Senator Bato, what is this? This is yung binibenta sa, so what we see now are screenshots of TINs that are available and also other government IDs.
Being offered for sale.
Okay, so I guess we can take this up with MBI, no? Okay. Sige. So, Senator Bato will take the lead in asking questions from NBI.
Thank you, Madam Chair. NBI, di ba kayo nag-imbestiga noon? Itong kaso na ito? Itong 7 or so far, itong mga kaso na ito na
Meron pong mga na-endorse sa
Meron.
Senator, yes.
so bali ilang kaso na endorse sa inyo?
In total po, 55 number of names of the foreign nationals endorsed to the NBI po.
55.
Yes.
Puro foreign nationals.
Yes po.
Most of them Chinese.
Other than those intercepted at the airports po, Yung iba po kasi, hindi pa namin na-establish kung ano yung nationalities nila because of what were endorsed to us or only names of the foreign nationals with their corresponding Philippine names po.
Okay.
So,
Were you able to establish kung itong mga tao na ito ay mga Pogo-related personalities?
as of now, Sir Senator, hindi pa po namin siya ma-connect doon with the
Hindi
POGO
pa.
operations. Yes po.
Pero
Pero we are on the...
ang ginawa niyong investigation is parallel investigation.
yes
Merong
po,
ginawa
Mr.
yung DFA, sila rin, merong ginawa yung kayo NBI, meron din.
Yes po.
So,
And,
so far, anong findings ninyo? Come up.
meron na po kaming mga recommended for filing of charges against the yung ibang foreign nationals. Kaya lang po, for their request pa for review and evaluation po ng DOJ.
Yung foreign nationals lang ang mga kakasuhan. As far as yung nag-facilitate, involved sa mag-facilitate nito mga papilis na ito, wala pa kayo na pinpoint? Wala.
Paunti-unti po, Mr. Senator. But sinisimulan na po. Pending
So, please,
investigation.
kung meron kayong update, please update this committee para kampante tayo na may nangyayari sa investigation natin at maparusahan ang dapat maparusahan na gumagawa nito dahil as I've said, national security issue ito.
Yes.
Hindi lang ito ordinaryong kalukuhan, kundi national security is at stake. So, kung sino man yung mga kasamahan natin sa gobyerno na involved dito, dapat papanagutin natin. Dahil sila mismo ang nagbibigay ng problema sa ating gobyerno, di ba?
Yes, po, Mr.
So, ituloy lang ninyo yung investigation ninyo. Then, please update this committee para malaman namin, ha?
We will po, Mr.
Yeah,
Senator.
thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat. Yun lang, Madam Chair.
Senator Sherwin, would you like to go back to BIR or any other agency?
To Madam Chair, continue the question, continue my questioning with the Bureau of Immigration. Sorry, and this is in relation to the presentation I showed earlier, and I just want to flash on the slide again. Some issued IDs by the Bureau of Immigration, and I will just flash it on the screen. And it's too small to see here, no? But apparently, the Bureau of Immigration issued an ID, and in the ID, the registered employer is Brickharts and Rivendale. And Brickharts and Rivendale are POGO entities that were raided August 1 of 2023. And these IDs were recovered November 30 of 2023. So in other words, the registered companies were already raided and closed down 3 or 4 months prior to the November raid. And would like to inquire from the Bureau of Immigration, how come these IDs are still being used even though after the original company, Rivendale and Brickharts, were already closed down 3-4 months ago?
Sir, our colleague will speak on the
Go
matters.
ahead. Go ahead. So in other words, even though they're closed down, sarado na itong company, they're not allowed to operate. But this individuals still carry a live current BIID whose registration are under the previous companies who were raided and closed down. So these are just few of the individuals that were apprehended during that time. But we don't know how many of these individuals still carry the same ID going around in our country and showing valid IDs issued by the Bureau of Immigration. So, paano nangyari ito? Di ba after the raid, this ID should have been forfeited, should have been revoked, so that they will not be able to use these IDs as a form of identification? Go ahead, sir.
Um, good afternoon, Madam Chairman, Your Honor. Fortunato S. Manan Jr., the Chief of the Intelligence Division of the Bureau of Immigration. Yes, Your Honor, we agree with your observation. With regard to the Rivendell and other companies that you mentioned, Your Honor, as far as we can remember, there were like 4 big operations that was conducted last year: the Smart Web, Sinchuang, Hongtai, and the Rivendell. We want to share to this committee that all those registered foreign nationals under those company, their ACRI cards and the visas were all revoked already, canceled and revoked. Weeks or months after the raided the operations conducted against those companies. With regard to the ACRI cards found on those companies, yes, we agree, because Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, yun po yung the usual illegal activities na ginagawa. Jumping from one company to another. That's the reason kung bakit po namin kinakancel ang kanilang mga ACRI cards in violation of the condition of their stay. Meaning they're not supposed to be working on that company, pero still sinicircumvent po yung law. And once we found out that they are doing those kinds of illegal activities, definitely we will recommend the immediate cancellation and revocation of their visas and ACRI cards. Thank you, Mr.
How fast is the process? Because in this particular case, the raid happened August, but November they're still holding the IDs. So how fast can you? What is the process of revoking these IDs? Because it's already been established that Rivendell and Brick Carts are illegal companies. But these cards are still valid even after 3 or 4 months after the raid.
Yes, Your Honor. The physical card valid pa rin ho, pero in our system, it's already canceled and revoked. Meaning, if they intend to transact, to convert or to extend or to move to another visa, yung system po namin mag-hit that the iCard in their possession are not valid anymore, and there should be a charge against them because they were involved in a previous illegal operation ng mga law enforcement agencies. Pero the physical card po, it would always say na it's valid unless na kami po ang makahuli, and we will destroy the card.
I strongly suggest that the physical card should also be confiscated, because in our country, physical cards matter. No, we all know that our government agencies, they're not interconnected. There's no way for one government agencies to check the validity of information through the other government agency. It's a physical card that matters in our country. So once you show the physical cards, immediately you think that this person is legitimate. The card they're holding is also legitimate. But we're talking about crimes. We're talking about those are human trafficking syndicates that were apprehended, and yet they are carrying valid IDs. Even though you're saying in the system it's not valid, but I think it's better to just confiscate it para hindi nila magamit.
Yes, Your Honor. In those cases, yung operation po na yun, yung BI po is not the lead agency. So any turnovers of that Bureau of Immigration documents or cards, definitely the Bureau of Immigration will destroy those cards and for them not to be able to use it.
But these are valid cards, meaning these are issued to these individuals, to these foreign individuals, legitimately.
Yes, Your
And in
Honor.
your process, do they have to go to your office physically to determine that they are present here in our country?
Meron pong activity ang Bureau of Immigration every year, first 3 months of the year. We call it annual reporting. So they have to present that card together with their passports.
But do they have to go there physically, personally?
Yes, Your Honor, but there's an innovation na introduced that soon it can be the use of the technology. Pwede rin hong magamit to ease up the line and to make the annual reporting comfortable sa mga foreigners.
Okay. And then the purpose of this BIACRI card and the BIIDs, what is the purpose of these two documents?
Your Honor, yung ACRI card, may mga categories po yan eh. I think there's like 10 colors of the ACRI cards. One is for the tourists. If you stayed here for like 59 days or more, you have to mandatory register and a physical card will be issued to you. If you're staying as a tourist and if you intend to convert your tourist visa to another visa, meaning permanent or an immigrant or non-immigrant, you will be issued again an ACRI card corresponding to the visa that you're applying.
Because what we are seeing in this Pogo, a trend in Pogo, is lumilipat-lipat lang sila. They move from one company to the other company. So in other words, they use the same document to move around. No? So anong nangyayari? You raid one, but they move to another company. You raid another one, they move to another company. And for me, what's concerning here is the validity of that document, and of course the physical possession of that document. So that's one angle that we want to be improved. No, if we can somehow collect those physical cards, because they're active in that raid in Pasay. There's active pa rin sila. They're still there. No, they're still there, and it doesn't look good that those cards are registered to a previous company, which was closed down because of human trafficking incidents. No? So that's one. And another one, Madam Chair, you
Senator Wayne,
yeah, go ahead.
if I may, dagdagan ko lang konti dun sa about the alien certificate of registration. Yung wala ba sa ninyo, sa protocol ninyo na kapag i-revoke na nyo yung ECR ng isang foreigner, kailangan i-account niyo sila physically. Kasi kung ma-account niyo sila physically, that's the only time na pwede ninyong ma-confiscate yung ECR nila, di ba? So hanggang revoke lang kayo. Revoke lang ganun. Tapos wala na. Hindi na inyo hinahanap yung mga tao na yan kung nasaan na.
Well, Your Honor, for those involved sa recent big operations, yes, we canceled or we revoked the ACRI cards together with their visas. And to update, of course, our system, our legal division or our Bureau of Immigration issues either a deportation order or allow departure order. So meaning, mawawala na po sila sa aming system and the record will show that they are deported. With regard to ACRI cards na kailangan po ma-account, the only time po na ma-account namin sila at maka-cancel if they're involved in illegal activities and being caught by our operations like intelligence division operations or the fugitive search unit operations.
Kaya nga, kung na-cancel na niyo yung kanilang, na-revoke na niyo yung ECR nila, do they still have reason to be here sa Pilipinas? Kung cancel yung ECR, wala nang rason na nandito pa sila.
Wala na po.
They have to go out.
It's either they undergo a deportation order or an order to leave issued by the Bureau.
So, yun nga, kung wala nang rason sila, they have no more reason to be here because their ACR is already cancelled, dapat physically i-count niyo itong mga tao na ito. Kasi kung hindi natin na-account, hindi natin na-deport, sabi nga ni Senator Win, palipat-lipat lang yan. Lipat dito. Pag na-read yun, lipat na naman doon. Lipat naman doon. So, hanggang aabot sa ang punto na yung krimen nila, string of crimes na ginagawa nila. Walang katapusan yung krimen nila kung hindi natin na physically account itong mga tao na ito. So, I suggest kayo sa BI, dapat i-account niyo physically ito dahil revoke lang ninyo ACR. Afterwards, wala kayong actions taken. So tuloy-tuloy lang rin sila. Not unless mahuli sila sa police for any crime, tapos mapasok sa system ninyo yung revoke na pala ACR na ito, o custody natin ito, then subject for deportation proceedings. So ganun lang tayo, kapasive. So dapat active tayo para mahinto na yung mga krimen na patuloy-tuloy na ginagawa itong mga tao na ito. And, yung na-involve sa barilan ng doon sa Port Bonifacio sa BGC. Na-involve doon sa anti-kidnapping group ng PNP. Oh, yung tao na yon, kung sigurado ako, ganun din yan ang sitwasyon noon. Kung na-account niyo yun, hindi na yun ma-involve sa another crime na kidnapping. Kung na-in-account niyo, sigurado ako, membro yun ng Pogo na palipat-lipat gano'n na nawala ng trabaho dito, lipat na naman. Tapos nag-device ng diskarte na ma-involve into kidnapping. Pagkatapos sa kidnapping, ito na. May baril pa. So, wala na sana nangyaring gano'n kung in-account niyo. So, please confer with your boss. Pwede gano'n ang gawin natin. It might be expensive on our part. It might be laborious on our part dahil hanapin mo talaga yan sila, di ba? Pero dapat meron kayong sistema na pag sinabing itong tao na ito, located kagad, doon yan, sa pugo ni ganito, ganon. Doon yan nakatira. Account na kagad natin physically, di ba? So, kung lang yan, mga proactive measures na pwede natin gawin para ma-stop itong mga string of crimes, pugo-related crimes na nangyayari.
We fully agree, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Wen.
So I was listening to Senator De La Rosa's questions. My question for purposes of our committee report is, do you need us to pass a law that allows you to deport if there is already a withdrawal of this ACR for certain reasons? I mean, it may be withdrawn because at the moment wala siyang trabaho. Hindi naman yun, di ba? Di naman tayo, makatao naman tayo. Pero pag na-withdraw yun because that person was involved in illegal activity, so obviously there was due process and a hearing already held, maghihiring ka pa ng another? Because under your procedure, you have a hearing before you deport. But technically, there would have already been a hearing of some kind for that ACR to be revoked. So that's my question to you. You can study it, you can answer me, but I need to know for purpose of my recommendations in the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, meron ang Bureau of Immigration po merong new bill na sa Congress. And nandito na po sa Senate. Apo. And what you have mentioned, Madam Chair, I think parang wala pa po yung guidance na ganon to be included sa provisions of new immigration bill.
So study it and then give me a recommendation. If hindi na wala naman tayong bina-violate na due process, then tell me what kind of law you need to empower you to do that. Because what are they hanging around here for? Parang pang tayo pa yung nag-create ng environment na magstay pa sila. Diba? If that ACR was withdrawn for very valid reasons and not just simply nag-expire lang yung maganda naman yung trabaho dito. Hindi naman ganon, no, to be clear. Okay, so we'll wait for those recommendations. Okay, Senator Sher-
You're absolutely correct, Madam Chair. The ACR is issued to a particular person and a particular company. Tama? Since that company has been raided, no? So wala na yung particular company na yun. And those people are also included in that raid. So it's either that ACR gets canceled and they go back to their homeland because they came here to work for that company. Kung meron silang crime, then of course they get deported. No? But anong nangyari kasi, nakita namin ni Senator Bato, they move around eh. No, sinanay to, they move around, and there are so many cases. No, they move around, and the reason why they are being hired also, I heard, is because they have experience already in this type of operation. No, so better to get this type of people rather than get new people, because getting them involved in this type of operation is also very complicated and risky. No, that's why they move around.
But Senator Win, Madam Chair, siguruhin natin na itong mga tao na ito is hindi ito yung na-raid previously, nahuli ninyo, tapos nirelease na naman for whatever reasons. Kung may involved dyan na bribery or what, baka nirelease na naman tapos napunta na naman sa ibang kumpanya. Siguruhin natin na hindi nangyari yan Dapat pag nahuli ninyo, take appropriate actions. Huwag niyo pang hayaan yung mga tao ninyo na baka mamaya ma-bribe sila, i-release naman nila yung tao. Balik-balik ang problema natin ito. Umiiling-iling yung ulo ni Colonel sa likod na hindi na nangyari yan daw, hindi nangyari. Pero ako lang, thinking ko lang ako, aloud, advanced thinking lang ako. I'm not accusing you na ginagawa nyo yan. Ako lang siguruhin natin na pag nahuli, appropriate actions. Pwede ba manahuli? Halimbawa, yung sinabi ni Senator Win na ni-raid yung isang kumpanya na yun. Tinik-custody nyo ito yung mga tao na ito. May chance ba na ma-release ninyo kagad, ma-release ninyo ito at ma-recycle, ma-employ na naman sa another Pogo company?
Mr. Chair, I can speak only for the Bureau of Immigration. Three ways lang naman po ang pwedeng mangyari dun sa subject. One is continuous detention and then deportation. The other one is bail, and the other one
Bail.
The case is dismissed. So
Dismiss. Dismiss ang label ninyo.
sa level po namin.
Label.
Administrative.
Administrative kasi parang quasi-kuan kayo, di ba? Quasi-judicial kayo na body, yung BI.
Yes, Your Honor.
So kayo nagkukuha sa mga immigration cases ninyo.
Yes, Your Honor.
So pwede nga pala kung na-dismiss yung kaso, ma-employ na naman siya sa another illegal Pogo company. Nakalabas dismiss. Or kaya, ano pa yung isang rason, sabi mo?
Bail.
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 Pag on bail siya, hindi naman magtanong yung employer na ang importante niya, meron siya physical body na marunong mag-Mandarin na magamit niya sa kanyang operations. Hindi mo yung magtatanong kung on bail ka ba o hindi, di ba?
Pero yung, Your Honor, once the subject is on bail, they need to report twice a month.
Wala namang problema. Twice a month, magtrabaho pa rin ako. Pag, end of the month, mag-report ako sa inyo, tapos balik naman ako sa trabaho ko. Di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, paano natin ito, Madam Chair, isolve ang problema? Dahil pabalik-balik Pabalik-balik.
I'm not sure if you've asked, if one of the gentlemen have asked the question, but yung ganun nga na na-raid na, yung employees ba niya, are they put on some kind of a watch list? Like just a watch list? May ganun ba? Natanong ba yun? Sorry, I know you were raising your hand, but can I just get a quick answer on this one? Mr. Manahan? Are they put on some kind of watch list?
Yes, Madam Chair. Once na ma-charge po, na immigration charge ang subject.
No. hindi siya na-charge. Yung company man lang niya.
That,
So if the company was raided, do we have a mechanism kung saan yung mga foreign employees doon are somehow put on a watch list? I'm not saying i-deport mo dahil wala namang nakumit pa na crime, pero yung watch list ba? Kasi nga paikot-ikot nga. And these two gentlemen have kept on saying it. I parang haven't really heard. They're dumbfounded about our lack of doing something about it. So naisip ko na nga na may ganun ba? May watch list? Kasi otherwise, how do we get to a solution?
yes, Your Honor. One example po yung one of the four big operations po that was conducted last year. Meron hong mga subjects found on the site na na-charge, na-detain, and then na-deport. Or pag victims, so allow departure order ng Bureau. So well accounted po sila, Madam Chair. Pero at that time na ginawa yung operation, meron pa hong mga employees yung subject company na wala po sa building. So may action din pong ginawa ang Bureau doon kasi nakita po natin na under that company which was recently canceled by the PAGCOR, meron pa hong mga ibang employees na wala ho doon sa operation. So what the BI did, kinancel na rin po at nirevoke na rin po yung mga visas and the ACRI cards, chinarge na po yung mga yon at nilagay po sa watch list yung mga things.
Telling me us that that's the SOP na.
Yes po.
Okay, if you have that in some kind of guidelines or ano nyo, policy ano nyo, just share it with us. I'd like to recognize our Senate President. Thank you. As you know, I included in my opening statement that the Senate President had made note of all these reports and had immediately referred it to the Blue Ribbon Committee as early as last year when we had our budget session. Mr. President, the floor is yours if you'd like to say something. No. But I'm taking note, Attorney Tejano, you're next. But of course, we give way to the Senate President.
Thank you very much, our dear chairperson. Ma'am, thank you so much for having this. I know you're very busy and we just wanted to take this opportunity to be able to iron out certain things, particularly with the issuance of mga public documents. I'd like to also say thank you to Senator Sherwin and Senator Bato de la Rosa for taking a strong stand on this issue. Sorry for being late, ma'am. There's a whole school here. My daughter's school is here. I'm the host. I know. That's the commission appointments. It all started, gentlemen, ladies, pleasant good afternoon to all sa ating mga kawani ng gobyerno. Magandang hapon po. It all started when I've been getting complaints, particularly on, and I'll just put it bluntly, Chinese nationals having a Filipino not just passports, pati PhilHealth card. Meron pa mga PWD cards and all sorts of local senior citizen cards, which they use as a local ID. It becomes a local ID. These are foreign nationals, and I'm quite shocked and to put it mildly on this issuance because. They use it now to gain access to subdivisions. They gain access now to areas where it's supposed to be only Filipinos that are supposed to be benefiting from, let's say, programs of government. Like, for example, PhilHealth. Can a foreign national actually get PhilHealth that is being paid by taxpayers' money, Filipino taxpayers' money? Is that possible?
Yes. All the residents here.
If the residents, so at least we can answer that and correct that because that is something that that's up for debate. Well, it says where they feel there's a whole list that they can take up, and I'm just worried that they may be using this for nefarious things in the Philippines, nefarious actions in the Philippines. Most recently, there was a firefight in the heart of BGC. My God, that was embarrassing. People were showing videos online of it's like a movie where they're actually firing their guns in BGC. And I know the chairperson is from Taguig. and being these were, I believe, Chinese nationals that were shooting at our police officers and NBI. First of all, how did they get the guns? Maybe we should look into that. Are their firearms illegal? If they were legal, how did they get them legally? Under our gun laws. Our gun laws is very strict when it comes to the ownership of firearms. Foreigners are not allowed to own firearms in this country. So every time there's an incident involving a foreign national, not just one country, but a foreign national, they always seem to have certain documents, whether it is fake or not. We have to go to the bottom of this, Madam Chair. And I think we have to open the people's eyes on this. And dapat aware na rin yung tao. And that's why I'm happy that we're having this hearing. Aware na po ang taong bayan, lalo-lalo na yung mga registrars at yung mga clerks sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno pag may nag-a-apply. Lalo na yung mga late application for birth certificates, for example. Pag late application for birth certificates, pati passport, you better make sure that the person that's being issued the passport is Filipino, and you can easily tell naman eh. You can easily tell. I have a friend in the BI, and then iba na daw yung style ng BI na yun when Bureau of Immigration, when they ask apparently when there are people coming in claiming to be Filipino citizens but don't speak a word of Tagalog or English, or they sparingly speak English, no Tagalog. Ginagawa nila, they start asking about local, as a joke, celebrity news. Oh, they ask local celebrities, which is an ingenious way of doing it, because people sometimes memorize things. No? People can memorize the national anthem. People can memorize our national heroes. But when you do the celebrity news, that's current events, hindi na nila masasagot. Things like that. We have to be more, how do you say, creative. That's the right word. We have to be more creative when we're trying to catch these unscrupulous individuals. So I just want to thank the chairperson for this. And I'm appealing to all the government agencies. This is becoming to be a very common incident happening now in our country. So we have to put a stop to this. And if there are people, members of government that you catch, you find out are actually giving fake, or actually not fake, these are legal documents. But how do you say the word? What's false content through an illegal alien or a non-Filipino? We have to crack the axe on. We have to crack the whip on these guys and let the axe fall on them and apprehend them the soonest possible time. So yun lamang po. Yan lang ang gusto ko kasi nakakapagtaka bakit meron mga foreign nationals na may mga legal na dokumento na baril. Bakit sila may mga ganitong klase, iba't ibang government ID, pati national ID meron. Meron may cases, and I think this is what's being flashed in the screen now, that they even have national IDs na foreigners po sila, hindi naman sila Filipino. So yun lamang po, Madam Chair. I will no longer propound questions. I'd like to listen to our resource persons. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate the support, and we know that this is really an issue that you have initiated. And actually, before you arrived, we were pointing out that some of the information that was shared with us, we know they had started the investigation precisely because of the information that came out during our budget hearings. Yeah. So our only hope is that this hearing triggers even faster cooperation among all of you, because we cannot solve this in isolation. So let me call on Attorney Tejano, who was raising his hand from Ayakat. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Ma'am, during our raids, 4 raids actually, of these foreign individuals in Pogos, we actually would have physical custody of the whole foreign nationals, of the whole building, and they will be subjected, all of them, Your Honor, to deportation or repatriation, usually shouldered by some of them by the embassies or their employers. However, those who were issued with habeas corpus or those cases which has been filed with habeas corpus, sila po yung nare-release na foreign individuals. Or those material witnesses that we have in our custody sa tip center, doon po sila. But all of them, Your Honors, are blacklisted and not allowed to come back to the Philippines.
I'm curious, who files a case of habeas corpus on their behalf? Yung employer nila, asawa nila, sino kaya?
Mga lawyers po nila, Your Honor, they have actual lawyers. And minsan po
If
na...
habeas corpus mo yung i-deport, grabe yun ah. But I mean,
And sometimes...
do we have a legal expert here? Is it not the right of the Philippine government to determine who is allowed to be in this country? That to be once you are allowed to enter, of course, it is our job to take care of foreign nationals, but to treat them with all the respect due of a human being. Pero if there's a basis to deport,
Most of the
may
cases,
right,
Your
may ganun
Honor...
pala yun. I mean, honestly, that's a legal. You're a lawyer also. Isn't that like a legal conundrum na parang pwede mo pa palang ipilit na nandito siya sa Pilipinas? Yeah, you will use the writ of habeas corpus to insist that that person can stay in the Philippines as opposed to be deported.
Most of the cases, Your Honor, the judge would grant in our favor. But there are
May
cases
attempt pa talaga.
such as this foreigner is already married to a Filipina and they have already families here in the outside, so they have to be with their families. But most of the time, the court would grant
Okay.
us the favorable order, Your Honors.
Okay.
Madam Chairperson, what's being flashed in the screen? Is this a person
Which
who
one?
is a Vietnamese national who now has a Philippine passport?
Oh, yan yung case mo, asan na si Mr.
How is that even possible?
Yun, ito yun, di ba? Yung case mo. Oo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jane.
Okay. Hindi. So, Mr. President, these are just cases of reported cases, as you had mentioned. Like this one is applied for was already in front of immigration, and then sabi niya she has never first time niya to be an OFW and to leave the country, and yet the record showed that there are two other persons who had previously left with similar data as hers. Ano ba yun? Similar, same passport or same everything but different person. In this particular case.
May I, Madam?
Yeah, of course. And then ito yung kaso mo, di ba? Oh, alika, baka gusto kong tanungin ni
Yeah.
Senate President.
Oo, ang katanungan ko kasi po, Madam, is the issuance of the passport. For every crime, you follow the trail, whether it's you follow the evidence. And obviously, if it's money laundering, for example, you follow the money trail. In this case, it is the documents. Just like the other one that you flashed, it was a Vietnamese fellow, all of a sudden, nagkaroon ng Filipino passport. Sino nag-issue ng Filipino passport na yan? Dapat yan accountable. We have to know from the DFA who issued that passport. Now, you find out that person, maybe sindikato yan, maybe hindi niya rin alam. He might show, it says there DFA Davao. He might show, which is strange because he said this person lives in Zambales. Paano naman umabot sa Davao para mag-apply ng passport yung mama? Ibig sabihin, naghahanap ng easy mode of access to these documents yan. Guys, we have to stay sharp. Nandito yung NBI. You guys have to stay sharp. I'm not a police officer. This gentleman beside me is a police officer. You have to follow the trail. Now, pag nahuli niyo yung lalaki nagbigay niya, nag-issue niyan, nag-interview sa kanya, tignan mo yung dokumento. Kasi baka naman, he was acting on the fact na may legal document, may PSA, or may birth certificate from some place in Zambales. Habulin niyo naman yan. Habulin niyo yan na yun. Di ba? So in this particular case, how far have you gone on apprehending those responsible for the issuance of these fake passports? Same goes to the other one. Yung babaeng yun, may dalawang passport, same data. Sino nag-issue niyan? Baka isang tao lang yun. Baka sindikato yan. So yan ang dapat natin bantayan. I'm not saying that there's a syndicate. Possibly. as my son always tells me, you'll never know. My son always tells me that for some strange reason. So, we have to follow the evidence. Okay, dito lang. Dito lang sa Vietnamese individual na ito. Ano na nangyari dyan sa investigation? How far have you gone in trying to apprehend who was the one in charge of giving them these documents? These are legal documents. Huh? These are not spurious. These are legal documents.
If I may just summarize and then we get a response, no? So my recollection of this case is the passport was actually issued and it was the BI who caught it, tama ba? And then from there, na-investigahan and it was determined that the document submitted to DFA was authentic, tama ba? O feel free to correct me. So who wants to continue and tell the Senate President, report to us as requested by the Senate President, what happened then after?
Oh, dito, itong case na
after that
muna,
was
ma'am, para we
determined?
can find out, we can just focus on this one case. Please, please proceed, Asa. With the permission of the chairperson.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, we would like to thank of course, the Bureau of Immigration for calling our attention. And based on our records, Your Honor, we did determine that the applicant submitted a genuine birth certificate.
Where was the birth certificate? Who issued the birth certificate? Was it the municipality or the
Philippine-
PSA?
The PSA, sir, and a genuine driver's license.
So wala na. What happened there after that?
We have since canceled the passport, sir, December 28, 2023.
That's the point, Madam Chair. It's not just a simple not a simple cancellation of passport. If this happened in the United States, oh my God, the U.S. Homeland Security is going to run after you and whoever issued that document. Bakit naman tayo dito? Kaya walang natatakot sa atin, guys eh. Talaga, walang natatakot sa atin kasi, di cancel mo na lang yung passport. Ganun na lang. So yung nag-issue ng fake document na real, but of course with the fake input of information, goes scot-free. Must have made a couple of $1 million, you know? Unfortunately, because of corruption. We gotta put a stop to these guys. Talagang dapat matigil na to. So, wala na. Ganun hanggang doon na lang? Or what is the recommendation of the DFA? Or what is the recommendation of any agency here, please, on how to explain this issue? Have you already penalized the person involved in releasing that document? PSA, would you like to answer?
Mr. President, good afternoon po. This is among the documents under investigation by PSA. This is the one document that we say this is authentic, that came from PSA indeed. But this one is a case of identity theft, wherein the actual document owner was born in 1996. 2 days later, that person died. And this person assumed, 1999, assumed.
With due respect, Mr. Manawag, no, I don't need that explanation. I want to hear from you, what the hell did you guys do to correct this and to penalize that fellow who gave that or allowed it to happen, that document from the PSA? Do you do at least some normal, okay, when you issue is that a late registration, a late request for birth certificate? Late siguro kasi, di ba when you're born in asa tong imong lungsod? Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur. When he's born in the barangay in Davao del Sur, the hospital there will issue the birth certificate, di ba? The locality will issue the birth certificate. Now, if there's none, which happens to many Filipinos, wala silang birth certificate, you go to the PSA now for late registration of birth certificate. Ibig nyo sabihin, napakadali, ganun lang kadali, kumuha ng late registration of birth certificate na yun. Nasasabihin lang nila, ay, ganito, ganyan, meron ng, lalabas na kayo ng late birth certificate. Because I think that is what happened. The gentleman or the person, is it a guy? It's a man, right? Is it a man?
It's a man.
Because the name is in Vietnamese. If that is a man, that person must have been already of age when he applied for that birth certificate.
This
Di ba?
is woman, Your Honor.
Okay, my
And,
mistake. It's a woman. So,
timely-
but that woman, when she applied for that, Mr. Manawag, was of an older child, I guess, or older person, right?
Mr. President, this case is timely registration. This is not a late registration, Your Honor.
What do you mean? She was born here in the Philippines?
Use the identity of a dead person who legitimately was born in the country and died in the country, Your Honor.
Ba na naman to?
Mr.
Siguro,
Sir,
ang last na lang siguro, Boss Bato. So, ganun lang kadali ito. I mean, anyone can do it, right? Anyone can fake the documents. Right now, through Photoshop and everything, ibibigay lang sa inyo. Ganun na lang yun. I mean, is that easy to be able to get a birth certificate from the Philippine Statistics Authority now using fake documents? You don't do a background check.
Your Honor,
You don't go back to the municipality to find out if it is true
Mr.
or
President,
valid.
Mr. President, yung pong registration happens at the local civil registrar, Your Honor. Sinasubmit po yan sa PSA once it is registered at the local civil registrar, Your Honor. So it is not actually the PSA that registers people, Your Honor, rather the local civil registrars.
O nga, pero dumating sila sa inyo, may dalang peking dokumento. Peke, sabi mo, it's identity theft. Ngayon, ganun lang ba kadali na basta ang sinasabi mo, garbage in, garbage out. Ang sinasabi mo, wala kaming magawa pag dinala yung dokumento sa amin na merong ganitong mga detalye, ay lalabas na namin yung birth certificate na late registrant. You don't do background checks? There's no form of background check or verification on your part sa PSA?
Your Honor, as a repository of these registered documents from the LCRs, the local civil registrars conducts the investigation and checks the supporting documents as submitted by the registrant, Your Honor. So on our end, we receive what is registered by the local civil registrars, Your Honor.
Okay, question. Alam ba na locals, right now in this investigation, alam ba na local civil registrar na ginamit yung mga dokumento nila? Napatay na yung tao, ginamit ng itong buhay.
Your Honor, the PSA conducted investigation and asked our officials to go to the local civil registrar to verify on the documents required by the local civil registrars on accepting this registration. And the results of the investigation has been discussed earlier, but we will submit it to the committee.
Question, another question. Which local registrar was this person, were the documents coming from for this person, this
This one.
particular person?
This one is from Zambales, Santa Cruz, Zambales, Your Honor.
Santa Cruz, Zambales.
For your information, Mr. President, we asked them to identify the top 3. They have a list, no? You have a list. You gave us a list. They investigated the top 3 locations where they have the most late registration of birth. Late because, unlike in this particular case, most of the cases we're investigating are the late registration. So they identified Pasig, Davao del Sur, and what was the third? Manila. And they have a list. They have other lists. So anyway, we were just saying that without this hearing, we expect that they would be proceeding exactly as the Senate President was saying. No? That was our point na sana hindi kami kailangan mag-hearing to ensure that all of the necessary steps, not just to resolve that one case, but that they do not happen, because wala pa rin akong narinig sa inyo kung sino ang naimbestigahan at sino ang matatanggal, unless you just didn't volunteer that information. You're both raising your hands. So si Ase Cruz naman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In fairness po, it was the PSA who assisted us in determining the
areas.
statistics. Yes, ma'am. And we the figures that we came out with, those were used by suspected foreign nationals po,
Correct.
who applied for Philippine
Yes.
passports.
But I'm saying, nahanap nyo together, pero yung opinion nyo, as you have been saying it, is ang may jurisdiction doon is their LGU, Mr. President, because the civil registers are under the jurisdiction of their LGUs. What we have been saying is that they have supervisorial powers over the civil registrar. So you have to be the ones to implement or to, hindi pwedeng kayo ang magsisante dun sa tao, pero pwedeng yung i-recommend na kasuhan yun, di ba? So that's what we're waiting for. Yeah.
Madam Chair, kasi ang gusto natin ang kalalabasan sana ng committee hearing na ito ay makakapatupad tayo ng batas, nagagawa tayo ng batas on increasing the penalties and criminal liabilities of not only these individuals, but also the government agencies who release these documents. Kaya sana habang dinedebate pa namin itong batas na paano natin paggagawin itong batas na ito, on your side alone, on the DFA, the PSA, the civil registrars under the local government, the DILG, the BI, dapat meron na po kayong processes na medyo dahil dito, hindi ganun kadali. May dapat secondary, tertiary level or what you call layers of identification of this particular individual. Di ba po, kaya nyo nang gawin yun eh. You don't need to wait for us to come up with a law. On your own, if mag-usap-usap kayo, for example, DFA, yung mamang ito, hindi naman marunong mag-English. Siguro yung when I apply for my new passport, I go to your office for the picture and all. They always do the interview. Oh, sir, ano ba, anong ilalagay ko dito pangalan? So dapat dagdagan nyo siguro yung interview process. Di ba? Kung ano, pag nakita nyo na medyo duda kayo na hindi ito Pilipino at yung kawin niyo yung kasama nyo dyan ay matino, hindi po sindikato, sasabihin niya, sandali, red flag muna natin to. We'll report this muna to our supervisor. Then they report, then you do a secondary investigation. Same with the BI, same with the PSA. Dapat sa PSA, it shouldn't be that easy. Because they're using your document now because of the mere, siguro, ease of doing business, mabilis. But because of that now, they're utilizing it, the syndicates are utilizing it to get legal documents from you guys.
Mr. President, Your Honor, Madam Chair, dun po sa isubmit naming result ng investigation which we conducted, part of the recommendation there are filing of administrative cases against involved local civil registry personnel. So kasama po yun we have at least 3 identified areas for filing of administrative case. Just to inform the body that in pursuing the investigation, we have this recommendation to pursue administrative cases against hearing officials of the local.
Madam Chair? Sinabi mo kayo na top notch sir Dabosor. Sabihin mo nga sa akin ng mga munisipyo, puntahan ko yan ngayong break. Pagsasakaling ko yung mga local civil register dyan. Anong munisipyo? Anong munisipyo?
That was Santa Cruz del Davao del Sur.
Lungsod ko ba? Ano pa?
Your Honor, the document, the numbers submitted by DFA, we'd like to correct yung record kanina that we say we do not know those numbers. Actually, DFA has been continuously back-channeling, checking the records from our records, submitted records to them. They check it to us through back-channel verification. So yung sinasabi lang, Pasig, Rizal, Metro Manila has 39 cases. These are actually coursed to us for verification on a regular basis, Your Honor.
Here earlier, what were the towns, Your Honor, with the permission of Senator Bato?
Baka may bukid nun, ha? Tingnan mo, baka may bukid nun.
Wala kaming wala. Bukid nun, wala.
Yung
Puro
pong-
mga ano dun.
This was top 3 po as submitted by DFA and as verified by PSA. Pasig,
The city of Pasig.
Pasig
Okay.
City, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, and the third is Manila, and Quezon City po yung fourth with 10 cases referred to us po.
Okay.
Ano yung sir?
The investigations are all ongoing as we speak, ongoing. Because kayo nga ang technical supervision, right? So what do? You write to the mayor and tell them, nangyari to, paki-imbestiga, fina-follow up nyo ba? Because I assume that that's where the IACAT comes in to really follow up because nga medyo may disjoint, di ba? Kasi they're not, the civil registers are not effectively under you. Tama? Am I correct? I mean, who's following up on the cases? Yun yung tanong din ni Senate President. It's not enough na na-deport, di ba? Yeah. Do you want to answer? Anyone? Oh. Mike.
Madam Chair, for this particular foreign national po, the investigation is pending with us po, with the NBI. And
But sorry if I may interrupt, no. Not just one case. Like katulad niyan, natanong ko, ano yung top? Is there like an ongoing investigation for all those in the top list? Di ba? Kasi there's something going on. Bakit siya nasa top? May ganon? Is anyone taking the lead on that? Or yan, medyo tinginan tayo. So parang wala. That's the question. How do we end this? Yes, ASEC, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, that is one of the agenda items in our next meeting with the Interagency Task Force on Passport Irregularities po.
Because I would have thought, because thank you for your update earlier that you already had they had two meetings right after our budget, which is good, no? Pero I would have thought that nasama na talaga dapat yan. No, imbestigahan na yon, di ba? Because I was saying that kung pwedeng di ako mag-hearing nito, I won't have a hearing. There's so many things that we have to do. So sana mabilis lang kasi every day that passes, that syndicate is growing. And unfortunately, earlier, both the two gentlemen with me, somebody asked a specific question, one of you, is there a syndicate? And yung sumagot pa nga, parang hindi naman. Di ba? We asked if there's, ang dating sa inyo, hindi. So, either you're even more naive than the average, or I don't know, because you don't think that there's anything,
Madam Chair,
you're not suspicious about it.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
if it's okay, I can make a suggestion.
of course.
Parang lang to make it harder for these unscrupulous individuals from obtaining legitimate government IDs. Maybe we can institutionalize yung TIN ID, BIR TIN ID as a requirement, except of course pag kunwari birth certificate. Since our issued TIN IDs has an authentication mechanism in place, so you just scan the QR code sa Viber scanner and you'll know if it's a legitimate individual ba.
Anyone who pays taxes can get a TIN. Eh? So what you're trying to say is the TIN ID will also say if they're a foreigner or not? Will it have will it be able to trace that if he was a local or a foreigner doing business in the Philippines?
Yung ID po kasi, ang nakalagay po doon is address and then name, birth date. So may mga details po doon as to whether yung citizenship right now hindi pa po eh. Pero at least pag skinan yun, you'll find out if duly registered naman siya sa BIR.
Basically, what you're offering is a technology that works for you. That upon scanning it, you can get that information.
Yes, opo.
Yeah, but basically, PSA has their own technology also to that effect, right? I mean,
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not diminishing in any way your suggestion, but what you're saying is you have a system that works for you. Diba? Yung pag skinan nga, makukuha yung info. Pero may ganun din sila. Kaya lang,
Yung
we
birth
have cases
certificates natin.
where authentic certification, the actual paper, tapos yung barcode, which is, I guess, supposed to do the same thing, nanggaling sa ibang lugar, nalagay dun sa papel na ninakaw. So may mga ganon.
Itong mga documents kasi na yun, Madam Chair, I just realized these documents now, like passports, they're being utilized now to buy land. They're trying to buy land, homes. So if you're a syndicato na you're into drugs, you're a criminal syndicate into drugs and all that, they can use this person now to buy land, the house where they can manufacture shabu and all sorts of nefarious activities. So,
Pwede
guys,
pa baril.
baril.
Passport.
Pwede, baril na.
Filipino passport yan eh.
Kasi
ba?
legal ID na yan eh. So guys, we just had to know the severity of the situation. It's 3:00 and I'm being reminded by my Secretary General that we have to start session. But Madam Chair, maybe if you, I think we still need one more hearing for them to report to us. Maybe ask the head of the NBI to please come, si Chair, Director, NBI Director to please come, because with due respect, you guys are in charge of this, but it's good that yung bossing yun nandito para alam niya kung gaano kadelikado itong sitwasyon na ito. And he's made aware so that he can support the men and women on the rank and file on this investigation. So after this meeting, I hope that you can already push for policy that can put a stop, no, another layer of investigation to make sure that the people that are getting these documents are the real, authentic Filipinos. Hindi katulad nito. You know, initially when we brought this up, remember, Madam Chair, when we brought this up during the budget hearing, they were in denial. The agencies were in denial. They were in denial. Even with due respect, pati NBI, tinext ko sila. Ang sabi, wala pa sila mga kaso na that they're aware of. And na yun, ang dami na pala. 21 na sa Davao del Sur, sa Pasig. Ilan? Sa Pasig? 30, ilang kaso dyan nabigay ko sa yung listahan, boss? 39 na sa Pasig.
39 Pasig.
And these are the ones that so far we've caught. Baka marami pa dyan na hindi nahuhuli. Hindi pa nahuhuli.
Sindikato na ito.
Definitely. Kasi kung isang lugar,
Sindikato na ito.
if you notice, with due respect sa Davao del Sur, sa Santa Cruz, no, I don't know I've been there. I've been to your home in Davao del Sur. Wala akong kilala doon. Si Tata Sala ba? Si Mayor Tata Sala ba? Hala. Si Mayor Sala, kaibigan ko. So, you know, if it happens in one particular place, there's a possibility that this guy who was able to get that will tell now somebody else, dun ka pumunta kasi madaling kumuha niyan. Ganun yun. Di sindikato na yan. Oh, sindikato na yan. Come on, guys. Kawani tayo ng gobyerno dito. We have to do our best to make this, not make this happen. It's an embarrassment to these agencies. So thank you, Madam Chair. No, I think the PSA would like to react.
Mr.
But,
President,
thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair, on the question on what future policy, kasi at the moment we are in discussion, we've been asked by House of Representatives to comment on a bill, the Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Bill. This is basically to amend the 1931 law creating the civil registration law in the country. So it's an old law that needs to, basically that law do not give power to NSO then to PSA now to penalize local civil registrar. What we can, the farthest that we can do is to recommend to the local chief executive to act or to penalize or to administratively sanction the local civil registrar. But on the part of the PSA, what we can do after investigation is to put them. So basically, the law, the bill is seeking to increase that power of PSA to penalize, to put them under the Philippine Statistics Authority's rule, and also part of the is to add penalties on erring implementers of civil registration law. It also deals on digitalization of the system so that this, in coordination with the other agencies that require our, yes.
For the record, we'll probably craft a more comprehensive law, not just amendments to the Civil Registry Act. It should be all encompassing, from the DFA to the PSA to the BI to the civil registrars. Lahat na nagbibigay nito, pati yung mga nagbibigay ng fake PhilHealth, pati yung nagbibigay ng fake PWD, yung hindi naman PWD na bibigyan ng PWD card. I mean, we will come up with a more comprehensive measure. Yeah, we will also involve the PSA and all the agencies in the TWG.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Let me recognize the presence of Senator Amy Marcos. Senator Amy, the Senate President says we will go into session, but I will give you the floor. I will give you the floor.
I'm
Really?
just here to listen. Thank you.
Okay.
I know you're wrapping up. Thank you.
Okay, but I mean, by all means, huh? So because
Okay,
we are
here to
wrapping up,
support
but you're
the-
okay.
The problem of the fake IDs
Thank you.
that are proliferating throughout the Philippines for every sector, in fact.
Wala
Thank
naman
you.
sa Ilocos na nabibigay ng fake ID.
Hindi, maraming fake PWD. Yung ID, totoo. Pero yung tao, hindi talaga PWD. Racket ng LGU pa.
So I believe we called on everyone except DMW and DICT. We acknowledge your presence. No, very very short questions for DMW. Actually, it is already it's like a self-serving question because the statement I made in the opening is that our OFWs are probably are at most at risk, no, because they're the ones who will bear the brunt of the problem if our passports, if the sanctity of the passport is no longer there, no? So you confirm that.
We confirm that, Madam Chair, and in fact, we have one live case where the identity of an OFW was quote unquote stolen, and therefore she attempted to leave the country last January on an authentic passport. But upon verification, the records show that she has actually left the country
no one
twice
showed.
before
Yeah.
on the same credentials, but obviously fraudulently obtained. So
Yes.
on our part po, when this happens, we immediately cancel the license of the agency involved for immediate action on our part. And just to support your point, Madam Chair, yung vulnerabilities po ng OFWs na dadagdagan kasi nga po as pointed out, na si-circumvent po yung batas natin for household workers dahil the legal age for them to be deployed is 24 years old. So dito, Madam, pumapasok yung kalokohan na tinaakit ang edad and therefore kung mas bata po talaga actually, mas vulnerable po yung ating OFW. So kasama po kami dun sa quote-unquote nabibiktima nung ating ganitong klaseng operations. But we work very closely with BI and we thank you for the support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, and we'll also ask you to come back to the next hearing because I'd like to explore some more, no, ang the concerns and suggestions also of DMW. And
We'll be
then
glad
for the ICT, no, we acknowledge that there is an existing MOU between the ICT and DFA for collaboration to digitize consular services, et cetera, no? So just a quick confirmation and then we'll go into details on, because even the budgets, you know, you should talk about that so that it goes on record kasi minsan budget lang ang problema kaya pala hindi na na nagawa yung dapat gawin.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. We do have MOU with GFA. We also have coordination with PSA to develop an application to verify the person if he is what or
Who?
kung
Who they
siya
say they
mismo
are.
yung
Who they
dinedeclare
say
niya
they
kung sino
are.
siya.
Yes, yes.
So this app is called the E-Verify, which
okay.
will be launched on April with PSA.
Okay.
So this is connected with the national ID system.
Mhm.
So mapupull out na po yung mga data depende sa kunyari biometrics ng tao. Pag in-scan siya, malalaman kung siya nga talaga yung dinedeclare niyang siya.
Okay.
So DFA could use that system to help on the verification process before issuance of any documents po.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Quick follow-up lang and no need for an answer today. You've heard all the discussion sa DICT, and I truly believe that everything can be solved through digitalization and technology. Just on the POGOs alone, they have BAR TIN ID, DOLE ID, BID, BIID, ACR, PNP, PhilHealth. No? Sa locals, mas marami pa ito. May NBI clearance, may cedula, di ba? So, meron kang national ID. So, one person will have 10 different IDs. No? I think it's about time to listen to all of this discussion. But even with all of these IDs, we're still getting fooled. No, marami pa ring mga fake, marami pa ring mga fraudulent. So, analyze what's the problem and suggest to us during the next hearing. I think everything can be solved through technology and DICT can, we want DICT to propose to us how do we solve all of these things through information technology.
So at this point, I'd like to thank everyone for the time you gave us. It's been almost more than 4 hours, no? Or around 4 hours. Hindi pa to tapos because we really want to see the problem through, okay? Maybe the first hour we spent basically defining the problem, which, as I said, was already brought up during the budget. So now we really want to find the solutions, and for that reason, we need to make sure that the civil registrars are here, and perhaps more concrete steps on the part of the agencies on how to really identify the issues and plug the holes that we have. So I think ang mahalagang mensahe natin hindi dapat nabibili ang pagka-Pilipino, pero sa nakikita natin, nabibili siya. Nabibili siya sa pamamagitan ng sindikato. Kami po doon lang sa konting kwentuhan, parang conclusion natin is mukha namang may sindikato dahil may mga lugar na doon maraming nagre-register ng late birth, yung adult na sila, may edad na sila, saka pa lang sila magpaparegister. Tapos, hindi naman sa bias, pero tinanong ng ating kasamahan, ano ba yung mga nationality nun? Karamihan, lumabas na Chinese. And then, ang isa nating kasamahan, marami ng investigation sa mga POGO. So, it was brought up na ang foreigner, hindi siya makakabili ng lupa, pero kung may hawak ka na Philippine birth certificate and passport, then makakabili ka ng lupa. Paano kung gumising na lang tayo isang araw na hawak na nitong mga Pilipino daw sila, hawak na nila ang lupa. And we all know, especially those who've been in the LGU, nako, once na naumpisan yung land problems, that's another problem that cannot be resolved in one generation. It cannot. So, paano na tayo? So, yun ang pinakamahalaga, and ang kinikilala nating most at risk ay yung ng mga OFW dahil baka maharang ka sa paglabas ng bansa. In the next hearing, ite-take up natin yung mga specifics na situation sa immigration pagpalabas sila, kasi yung example nung isang babae, hindi na siya nakalabas kasi on record twice na siya lumabas ng bansa. Never naman siya nakalabas. So in the meantime, the life of that person is put on hold. And possible na hindi, not just possible, we are sure na maraming katulad niya na on hold ang buhay dahil may gumamit ng identity niya, or kahit mismo siya, katulad nung sinasabi mo, Yusek, na maybe they will doctor their birth certificate para lumabas na mas matanda sila, para makapag-abroad sila. So, quick message sa mga kababayan natin, wag niyong dodoktorin at papayag na may magdoktor nung inyong official documents, because not only is it a crime, pero pag nahuli yan, yung nais nyo pang ma-achieve, hindi nyo ma-achieve dahil hindi kayo makakalabas ng bansa, hindi kayo makakapasok doon sa trabaho dahil makuhold lahat ng documents nyo, from your birth certificate to your passport. So on that note, we will suspend this hearing till the next hearing, and please be prepared when you come back. Thank you very much again for your time. May team nagpukpuk na, dali, tatakbo ko.